So I'm sitting next to this guy. He's 6'4", built like a Mack truck. Former Crip gang member of 20 years, spent like 10 years in prison. He's a hardcore dude. And he was bawling his eyes out, weeping like he lost his mother because there was no coffee. Hey everybody, welcome back to Carnivore Quest. My name's Larry, and my wife Cassie and I are trying to lose over 200 pounds eating the carnivore diet. On February 14th of this year, I weighed in at 354 pounds, the heaviest I've ever been in my life. I was absolutely miserable, and it was time for a change. After 4.5 months on the carnivore diet, I've lost 81 pounds, and man, I'm finally getting my life back. If you're new to the carnivore diet, you're checking it out, doing a little research to get healthy or to lose a lot of weight, this video is especially for you. Can you have coffee on the carnivore diet? Well, anybody can drink some coffee, right? But are you really a carnivore if you drink coffee? The overwhelming vast majority of people living a carnivore lifestyle do drink and enjoy coffee. There are some that don't. And I actually Googled it to see, is coffee bad for you? And it's a mixed bag. There's articles that say it's really good for you and articles that say it's not good for you. I personally believe if you have a lot of weight to lose, like I did, I was 354 pounds. I'm 6 feet tall. My body is not designed to carry that much weight around. There are so many benefits that Cassie and I are enjoying on the carnivore diet. We actually did a video about that, 10 benefits on the carnivore diet. I'll put the card up here because it's not just weight loss. There is a number of things that have improved health-wise for us. We made a video about a month ago, our favorite cold drinks in the summer. It was iced tea and cold brew coffee. And I probably got 20 or 30 messages since then. People just messaging me telling me you're not a real carnivore. I'm like, okay, you're not a real carnivore. I've heard that many, many times, that people take their time out of their day to tell me that. I'm not a real carnivore. I mean, for the last 100 days, I've had nothing but beef, butter, bacon, and eggs, and salt. That's it. But I'm not a real carnivore. But really, it didn't bother me. Then one day I got a message from one of our new members in our Facebook group, Carnivore Quest Community. He was very upset, very discouraged. He belonged to some other groups. And I guess in another group, these people were like attacking him because he even mentioned coffee or asked a question about it. And he was considering not doing the carnivore diet because of those people. This gentleman weighs almost 400 pounds. Almost 400 pounds, and he has a wife and 2 kids. We messaged back and forth, and I convinced him to stick around. I asked him, have you ever noticed that you don't see any elderly people walking around at 400 pounds? I never have, because you're not going to last that long. Before the conversation ended, I told him the story I'm about to tell you about a guy named Cedric I met in rehab. I got sober 8 years ago, and the first rehab I went to was a 28-day program. They charged $29,000 to my insurance company, and I relapsed after 4 months of being home. Fast forward a year later, and I went to a Christian discipleship program for 7 months away from Cassie and little Larry. When I got there, they told me this was big boy rehab, and it was a lot different from that first place I went. It was totally free. The ministry does this for people to help drug addicts and alcoholics, and most of them in there were living under a bridge or just coming out of prison. So I was there about 3 weeks, and one morning after prayer, everybody goes to the cafeteria for breakfast. And mind you, all the food here is donated. That's why this program was free. Local businesses, people just making monetary donations. Everything from your clothing to your toiletries to your food is all donated. That morning, walking into the cafeteria, there was a buzz going on. There's no coffee. We're out of coffee. And my heart sank. I was like, oh my gosh. No coffee. I don't think there was one happy person in that cafeteria that morning. So I sat down. A few minutes later, Cedric sits down next to me. Now, we hadn't met yet, but Cedric is 6'4", built like a Mack truck, scars on his arms from knife fights, former Crip gang member of 20 years, did like 10 years in prison. He's a hardcore dude. And he saw there was no coffee, and he just broke down crying, weeping because we didn't have any coffee. I just remember sitting there shocked. I mean, I was upset that we didn't have coffee, but I remember I just put my hand on his back, and I didn't say nothing to him. I just left my hand there as he cried. Why would a man cry if there's no coffee? Well, this gentleman just got off of heroin, cocaine, and crack. I mean, he's been sober for 2 weeks, and that coffee was the world to him. He looked forward to that every morning. We all did in there. That moment was so powerful for me that to this day, Cassie and I still donate coffee every Christmas to the ministry because of that day with Cedric. So I told this guy in our group who's 400 pounds the story of Cedric. I asked him if he thought he was addicted to food, and he said absolutely. I was like, well, why don't you concentrate on that and not worry about the coffee right now? You know, if you want to give up the coffee later on, that's cool. But for now, just concentrate on your carnivore diet and getting that weight off, because that weight will kill you long before coffee will. He thanked me and he said he was going to stick around. And I was so pissed off. Somebody with their dogma BS almost turned this guy away from the carnivore diet, which could save his life. You know, 99.999% of the people in the carnivore community are wonderful. Wonderful people all trying to get healthy together. But there is a small sliver of people who are an anomaly. There's anomalies, you know, in every facet of life. I've seen a picture of a two-headed goat before. Telling somebody new to the diet that coffee might not be best is fine, but don't tell them they can't do carnivore if they're still drinking coffee. That to me is just insane. That shows me a lack of empathy, and it tells me that probably every one of those people that sent me a message like that has never been obese and extremely overweight. I'd bet on that, because if they have ever been obese and they've ever gone through that, they wouldn't be talking like that. But like I said before, the majority of the low carb community in general is not like that. The very first time I saw Dr. Ken Berry on YouTube, he had like 6 videos out. The first thing I noticed about him was his empathy. I could tell he had an empathetic heart. And guess what? He was obese at one time. Point of this video really isn't, is coffee good for you or bad for you? Because I medically don't have the answer for you. I drink it every day. I have cut out my afternoon coffee because in a deep state of ketosis, if I had afternoon coffee, I was experiencing some insomnia. So I made an adjustment. But if you have a lot of weight to lose and you're looking into the carnivore diet, don't get derailed or discouraged by people like that. They don't represent the majority of the carnivore community. They're dogmatic idiots who lack empathy. Our society in general is lacking empathy nowadays. When I was 20 years old, you didn't see videos of people just punching elderly people in the face for fun, or, you know, kicking someone in the head while they're unconscious and a bunch of people standing around laughing. That person on the ground is somebody's son or somebody's father. Society is a lot different than it was 20 years ago. So I guess that lack of empathy has seeped into the carnivore community as well. Is coffee addicting? Absolutely. I've gone without coffee for 4 or 5 days before, and I experienced withdrawal symptoms. So it's definitely addicting. I just believe that being 100 pounds overweight is much more unhealthy than having a cup of coffee. For those of you who, you know, give it up, man, that's awesome. Maybe I will one day. I've considered it once I get to my goal weight. It's just right now, I'm not worried about it at all. In my opinion, if you're starting this diet to lose an extreme amount of weight, coffee should be the last thing on your mind. You know, unless your doctor tells you otherwise. A buddy of mine, James, who has a Facebook group, The Grateful Carnivore, he's trying to give up coffee right now. And he reached out the other day and said, you know, he's feeling like not good. And I gave him the same advice. Well, maybe just, you know, consider losing the weight first, see how it goes. But I think he's gonna attempt it. So good luck to you, James. Anybody that attempts to give up coffee, you got my respect. You know, it's not an easy thing to do. And I do believe the optimal diet is beef, salt, and water. I'm not there yet, but I do believe that is optimal, as they say. So with all those messages and that gentleman in our Facebook group that reached out to me, you know, I just wanted to turn a negative into a positive by making this video, giving my 2 cents and reassuring new people on the carnivore diet. There are a ton of benefits that you're gonna reap by eating a meat-only diet. Don't sweat the coffee. So as always, guys, could you do me a favor and hit the like button? It really helps me and Cassie out. And if you're new to the channel, it'd be really cool if you subscribe and root me and Cassie on as we attempt to lose all this weight. We'll always root for you. We have a private Facebook group, Carnivore Quest community. Awesome people, awesome support. Request to join, I'll get you right in. You can also find us on Instagram at carnivore.quest. No more messages about coffee. If you want a little more Carnivore Quest, stop by our Buy Me a Coffee page. We post behind the scene photos, some extra content there, and if you want to support the work we do here at Carnivore Quest to get the word out about the proper human diet, you can buy me and Cassie a coffee. The link to that and the rest of that social media stuff is down in the description. So until next time, gang, remember, it's not no sugar, no coffee, no cheating. It's no sugar, no carbs, no cheating. Love y'all.